This is going to be part 2 of the series of tutorials for the application which we call Drive. It's also the second one in stage 1. In the previous part, we got as far as step 12 in the guide, and now we're on step 13, and it says that as a child of vehicle, we're going to create a cylinder, and we're going to call it front axle. So again, it's going to be like the third child of vehicle. We're going to create a cylinder. Its name is going to be front axle, and we're going to give it these parameters, which are, so front axle 0, 0.25. You see how ridiculous it looks right now before we give it all those. 0.586. This number is going to repeat a lot, that 0.586. You'll see both in negative and positive and so on. And as far as its rotation, it's 0, 0, and 90. So it's already, in its correct orientation. And of course, it's going to be much smaller in scale, 0.2 on the X, 0.6 as far as its length, and again, 0.2. And as you can see, by the time we're done, we got ourselves an axle for the car. We're also going to give it the same material that we gave that U-pipe, which is the material called, that ends with the number 22. And later on, of course, you can, change it to whatever material you want. The important thing is that it is going to cast shadows. We can, can always change that later. But also, like all cylinders, it comes with a capsule collider, which we're going to either disable or delete. By the way, that U-pipe, we never needed to delete or disable its capsule collider because it never had one. But this one does, so we have to make sure that the capsule collider is disabled. Don't forget to uncheck or disable the collider. And then, since we have a front axle, we can make a back axle or a rear axle simply by duplicating it. Select it, edit, duplicate, call it rear axle. And the only real difference between them is their location, and it only takes turning the Z from a positive to a negative, and we got it. And again, don't forget to uncheck if you haven't done that yet. So both of them don't have a capsule collider to uncheck or delete. So by now, the vehicle should look something like this, and it does. I mean, my materials are a little different and so on, but generally when I turn the car around, it's made out of 4 main parts. The base, the 2 axles, and that rear thing, that pipe in the back. And that's what my hierarchy looks like too. Vehicle, base, U-pipe, front axle, rear axle. Now it's time to add the wheels. Let me make this a little bigger. Before we add the wheels, we're going to start by giving them a container. As a child of vehicle, we're going to create an empty game object called all wheels, and it's going to be reset transform. All wheels, reset transform. From the teacher's pack, we're going to find an object called wheel. It's already something that was done in Blender. We're going to drag it to be a child of all wheels and give it the following parameters. Yes, it would look way too big so far. That's okay, because we're going to transform both things in it and outside of it. So, all wheels, teacher's pack. Here's the object called wheel. We're going to drag it into all wheels. Right now it is ridiculously huge and, like not even close to what it needs to be. I'm going to reset its transform, which doesn't help much, but the numbers I'm really going to give it, let's start with this. It's going to look even worse, by the way, when we start. 0.55 on the next. 0.25 on the Y, and 0.5 78. I'm gonna have to look at that because later on I think we're gonna fix that 578. We're gonna change it to that 586. But for right now, let's stick with that. It still looks like, it's nowhere near what a wheel should be. Its scale 25 by 25 by 25 is going to make it even worse. It's like, it's giant compared to what it needs to be. But that's because we're going to rescale things inside. Now, to have access to the things inside, we're going to right-click. It's a prefab, so we're going to unpack it. And we're going to name the wheel FR stands for front right. It's going to become the front right wheel. So right here, wheel, right-click, and prefab, unpack, rename it wheel front right, and then we're going to open it. It comes with some things that we don't need. For instance, because it came from Blender, it came with its own camera. We don't need the wheel to have a camera, so we're going to delete the camera. The cylinder, it should now only have a cylinder, the wheel mesh itself. Rename the cylinder mesh. Now, why do we need a mesh within a wheel? Think of it as the same as, let's say, in most vehicles, in most cars, you got the tire, and it's inside a wheelbase. So this is the wheelbase, and this is the tire. Now we're going to really scale and give the right look to the tire. Reset the transform of mesh, because right now it's like a ridiculous whatever. You should see a front wheel. So if I double click to get close to it, it looks way too wide. Let's see why. Probably because the wheel FR I got wrong. Oh, because I made it 25, 25, and 25, and it should be 25, 25, and 4. Here we go. Now, the other thing that I forgot to do on its parent is give it a Y rotation of 90. On the wheel FR, Y rotation of 90. The mesh itself is perfectly reset. With the mesh itself, the tire being perfectly reset, but its parent having the right numbers, we should have a wheel. On the, it's not, physically attached. We're going to pretend that it's like, like an energy field or something like that. If I wanted to, I could do like, spokes on the wheel, but I just thought it looked cleaner if it looked like it was suspended by like, like an energy field or magnetic field. So we just did this and we got to step number 24. You should see a front right wheel. We do. In the My Materials folder, we're going to create a material called Wheel Mat. We should have a My Materials folder because we created one when we created the empty template, like for the plane. And I'm going to just create another material, which is going to be called Wheel Mat. Of course, I'm going to give it to the mesh, because that's the tire. As a base map texture, we're going to give it the texture called V-Wheel Texture. So wheel mat, base map. We're going to scroll down alphabetically and find V-Wheel Texture. Here it is. That's the texture we're giving it. And then there's a few more parameters. Let's look at them for the, for giving it the look that I like for the material. Give the material the following parameters. Feel free to change, to your liking. So if I'm looking and copying all those settings for the wheel mat. Metallic, instead of opaque, it's going to be transparent because I want it to be a little transparent. What's going to make it transparent is the alpha inside this image. Preserve specular light, yes. Yep. Render face front. I'm not going to make it receive shadows. The base map we already did. The color stays white. The metallic map going to be a little more than 0.2, so it looks a little metallic. And also the smoothness is going to be, we're going to change it later on, about half, so it's kind of smooth. The one thing I wanted to look is like, if it's suspended by an energy field, look at like it's glowing a little bit. So I'm going to check emission. And as an emission color, I'm going to give it that, sort of blue color. It doesn't have to be the exact one. And I believe that's it. The tiling is 1:1. The idea is if I click somewhere else that it looks like pretty much like this. That it has a texture. I believe also there's a normal map I can use, but I haven't used it. I can always add it later on. If the wheel looks good, so it does, I'm going to look at it from above. I'm going to turn it sideways a little bit. Good. I like the way the wheel looks. Later on, if I change the material, it's going to change all of them. But the idea is that if the wheel looks good, I'm going to duplicate it 3 more times. Now, make sure you're not duplicating the mesh. You're not making 3 more tires inside of the same wheelbase. You're making 3 more wheelbases. So duplicate wheel FR 3 more times, not the mesh, and name the duplicates wheel BR for back right, wheel FL for front left, and wheel BL for back right. So let's do this meticulously. Wheel FR, duplicate once, duplicate twice, duplicate 3 times, and I got 4 of them. I'm going to name it, instead of front right, back right. So the right side first, front and back, and then the left side, front, left, FL, and back left. And then, of course, right now they are all occupying exactly the same coordinates. Here's what they, the hierarchy should look like this. All wheels with 4 wheelbases, each one of them with a mesh. And give the other 3 wheels, not their child mesh, the following parameters. A lot of changes are just going to be changing the values to positive or negative. So I can see that all of them are actually using, I'm going to fix that later on, the 586, not the 578. So this number is going to change by the time you get the this tutorial. Yeah, so this needs to be 586 for the first one. .586. The importance of this is simply so they are symmetrical. So really, what's the difference between the front right and the back right? It's just changing that same number here to a negative. You could do this while watching the video or just read. The front left is the same as the front right, only it's X. Let's make sure this number is correct. Its X is negative. And now if I move out, now I got, 3 of them are in place. And the back left, this number is going to be a negative. The X is going to be negative. And also the 0.586 is going to be negative because in the back. And now I got all 4 tires. When I look at it from above, I got tires on all the car. I personally like to change the perspective to orthographic so it looks flat, like, the kind of architects look like. bird's eye view. So now I have all the wheels, and they all have the right parameters. So now you should see all wheels. We're getting really close to the end of this tutorial. So yeah, when I look at the car from the side, from any, it looks like the wheels are in place. It looks like they're nicely centered on the axles. Good. By the way, this, if it bothers you, you could just turn off the gizmos and it wouldn't show it. The gizmos are like, those big icons. Let's see what else we need to do. That's it. That's the end of stage 1. Now you should see all 4 wheels. Now look at what you need to submit. It's much simpler than previous projects. To submit, all you got to do is take a screenshot, a static screenshot. In stages to come, you'll have to take a video, but so far nothing moves. So just to prove that you got what you need to have, take a screenshot in Unity showing the complete vehicle in the scene and or the game view, or the whole screen, which shows both of them, and the hierarchy view. Rename whatever, some applications take a screenshot as a JPEG, other there's a PNG. I'll take either one of them. Just change the name of the image before you upload it to your name, Drive Stage 1, and upload it to Lab 1. And it needs to look something like this, like a screenshot where I can see that the vehicle looks right and it has all 4 wheels. If I go back to mine, if I arranged it nicely, the game window could be below, the game window could be side by side, as long as I can see the scene, the window, and the hierarchy unfolded. And then you submit it, and that for me is enough proof that you've completed stage 1. So this is the end of stage 1. I will see you in stage 2, which will also be the 3rd tutorial in the series.